but things that come up where I'm like, this would be something that would be so great for this kiddo.
Yeah.
And so when I come to the end of the year, it's not something, I'm not looking at what's like available, what's hot, what's like, what all the ads are. It's something that I'm like, okay, this has been a developing interest for my child for a very long time, like finding things that are.
Welcome to the Homeschool Perspective, where seasoned homeschooling moms share tips, insights, and resources to empower your homeschool journey.
Hey there, welcome back to the Homeschool Perspective. With the holiday season in full swing, today we are diving into one of the most heartwarming and sometimes overwhelming aspects of the season, gifting. How do we give meaningful gifts within our families? How do we teach our children to receive gifts graciously, depending on the age? That's a thing. This episode is all about finding balance and purpose in the way that we approach gifts in our homes. We hope to encourage you and support you with practical ideas and some reflections on what's worked for us and what hasn't. So grab your cozy drink. Let's take a minute from the beautiful holiday chaos and chat about gifting. So you guys, do you have like a general philosophy on how you approach gifting in your homes?
Maybe. I've never really thought about that before, honestly, because we do something different. We tend to do different things. Like we don't always go with like an experience or, you know what I mean? But I don't know if I've never really thought if we have a philosophy of gifting.
You mean you haven't like spent time being Descartes and working it out? No?
Yeah, no, I haven't. Have you? I'm sure you have. No.
I say we have.
I'm sure. You guys,
So
maybe I did, and I just don't know it yet. So tell me what yours
at the
is.
end of this episode, you'll be like, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah, I totally."
You thinking about that, and I have a plan. Yeah,
exactly. I just don't know it yet. So enlighten me.
So we do stockings, which have really fun things, and then we do 3 gifts a kid that are more things that they really want. They're very meaningful from us to them. For our younger set, one of their gifts is always something that they can do that week between Christmas and New Year's. It's like a Lego set, a paint by number, some kind of crafting thing, something hands-on that they can do in their pajamas by the fire and get really excited about. For our older ones, we try to make it a way that they can connect with their friends. Maybe it's a new game, something for an outing, something that they can do also. And then there are years where we pull out themes. So one year we had a handmade Christmas where you could only give things that you had made yourself. I was not thinking through clearly that meant that I would have to make 27 gifts. So I spent the entire year crafting and that exhausted me, but the kids loved it so much. We're talking about doing it again next year. This year, the kids and us, we're gifting gifts that come with experiences. So for example, if you give someone their favorite coffee, then it comes with a coffee date with you. And you write a little note and a card with it. So they're having to be really thoughtful. So we try to do like themes along with the gifts. Obviously, the 3 things, we're not giving 3 experiences to each kid because, 8 people, but we're trying to stay in that spirit, things that help them be present, help them build relationships, that kind of a thing. And then the other thing that we do is our kids draw names so that they're not gifting to everybody, because that's a big financial and stressful burden. So our big kids each draw one big kid and one little kid that they give to, because we kind of have 2 sets. And then the little kids just pick, because each year they seem to have like a different person that they're closer to that they want to gift with. So our philosophy is simple and meaningful. If we had to sum it up in 2 words, but also practical in the sense that we don't want to add piles of junk to the house that just add stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did that one year and I was so upset. We threw like everything away by March.
Yeah.
The pieces were lost.
Tried that
things were
too.
taken care of. It was horrible.
We tried that too. I know somebody who was like, "Oh, just go to the dollar store and just buy, just like a bunch of stuff because they just want to open and they just want to, they don't care what it is." And so I was like,
"Oh, that's overwhelming."
Yeah. So I'm like, I'll try that, just like a junky Christmas, almost like they're not for us. No, like I'm with you on the simple, meaningful, like I'm not going to buy something if it's not going to
backwards. Like, what do you want Christmas to feel like? What do you want it to be like? And what character do you want to teach your kids?
Right.
And so we really wanted to instill like a person first philosophy. Mm-hmm. So we, instead of spending a lot of our money on gifts, we spend it on making like 15 lasagnas, and everyone that doesn't have somewhere to go for Christmas dinner lands here at 6 p.m. Christmas night.
I
and
love
we
that.
mow on lasagna, and we wrap up little boxes of our favorite teas and chocolate bars. So it's like $2 a person, and put them under the tree. So no matter like, and we do like 20 of them. And no matter who shows up, everybody has
You have a
something.
gift. Oh, I
That
love
is so
that.
lovely. Yes, I
I
love that so
know, like
much.
just a little something and have them wrapped in under the tree just for whoever shows up. I'm taking
That's
that from
awesome.
you.
I know, that's a great idea.
It is.
I love Lisa, I love that you guys have something so fleshed out and so beautiful and
Mhm.
always so heart-centered.
We need
Mhm.
systems
It's
or I go crazy.
No, I love it.
I, you know, my grandmother is, I miss her so much. She was just the most incredible lady ever. I think I've talked about her here before. She worked so hard. And as when I was a kid and she had, achieved this level of success in her business, and we were always the house that like everyone came to, right? Like anyone who didn't have a place came to my aunt's house. We always had a lot of people, and it literally a sea of gifts. And I realized how
Love that.
much of a blessing that
Mm.
was.
Mhm.
But then as that shifted, as like time shifted and we were taking care of grandma and things changed, there was like this habit of having an ocean of gifts.
Mhm.
And I think over time, a lot of us realized, because one of the reasons that that was so special and so incredible was because my grandmother loved it so deeply. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, we literally found a note from her the other day. My aunt found it in her things that she had just scratched on a piece of paper about how she felt that her entire job as a parent and grandparent was to give her children and grandchildren something to look forward to. Like
Oh
Christmas was her,
I love that.
it like, I can't think of another way, like Super Bowl. It really, like, I remember my husband got his first iPad from her when we were dating, and
Well,
when he opened it, he literally like shook like a little kid, like he was so
oh,
excited. And so there was this, we all had, and she wrote a poem every year. It was like a whole thing.
my goodness.
what a
And
precious
so I
person.
think she, so much so. But as we came out of that, there was like this habit for a couple of years of like, we need an ocean of gifts because that's what we're used to. And very quickly, I think we all realized that it was never the gifts, it was that care and that love and that energy that came from my grandmother.
Yeah.
And so the ocean of gifts was just overwhelming and not enjoyable. It burned everybody out. And so it like was really interesting that over a couple of years, everyone just kind of went like, can we just breathe? Like
Yeah.
it was a different environment. And I don't think that's like good or bad. Like it just shifted. And from there, because we had the first grandchild on both sides, the first boy grandchild on both sides of the family, like all four sides, right? Like he was great. So everybody was getting him presents and we were just going crazy. So it took us a couple years and we got to a place where it was like, okay, this is what we're doing. The rest of the family really pared down and we focused on making good meals together and just enjoying that time together. And then in our family, we went to the something to wear, something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read.
Mhm.
That's what comes
I
from
love
mom
that.
and dad. And then we work with grandparents to choose. Usually it's like some kind of thing that they use for one of their sports or their activities or something outside. And then something that they are working on pursuing or learning more about. So that comes from the grandparents. And then we try to mitigate it everywhere else. And this year, our kids are old enough now. We are going to be out volunteering on the holidays.
I
So
love that.
I like the direction we're going in, but it's been something that's been a huge shift over the years and really
Mhm.
finding something that serves us well. I can't, we also have the kids, we draw names in our family. We have a much smaller family, so mom and dad are included in that. We draw names and then we help them figure that out. Though I love the idea of having a theme, like the experience to
I do
help them,
too.
right? Like to help
Yeah.
them think a little more directly about it. Um, but yeah, I think it's something that's shifted for us over the years. And I feel like we've gotten to a sweet spot, but I need it simple. And I keep a list in my phone. I keep lists for everything in my phone throughout the
Who
year of
doesn't?
things that come up, but things that come up where I'm like, this would be something that would be so great for this kiddo. And so when I come to the end of the year, it's not something I'm not looking at what's like available, what's hot, what's like, what all the ads are. It's something that I'm like, okay, this has been a developing interest for my child for a very long time. Like finding things that are more specific and having that list so I don't get distracted and like pulled off by all the incredible marketing that happens right now has been really
Word.
helpful in just what?
It's a true word. I mean, like that's so important
Yeah.
because otherwise they end up with stuff that doesn't further their goals, our goals for our
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
and cost us money that we could be spending on things that do make a
That do.
difference in their lives. You know,
Exactly. Well, and then we have birthdays. My kids' birthdays are back to back and they start in January. So we
Yeah.
literally, it's like Christmas, birthdays. So we have to be so intentional
we
about
do
what's coming
too.
into our home or it's exhausting
It
because I'm
is.
like, how much stuff is there to have? I can't believe it.
Yeah. Okay. So hearing you guys talk, we definitely have a system and a philosophy. I'm like, oh, that's what you meant. Okay. We do that too. We do typically our kids get like 3 gifts from us, and it's usually a video game, something they really want, and something what's the third thing? A Lego set. So that thing that's like personal to them is the most fun one to pick out. And then there's like little stocking stuffers that we do and stuff like that. And then we do Santa in our house, and then Santa usually brings something that's either something for the whole family to enjoy or just something, I don't know, just something fun and different. So that's kind of what we do. But but we don't have a system for gift giving for siblings yet, and I think that that's something that we really want to start because some of our kids are more gifting minded, and they are more natural at giving gifts, and others struggle a little bit more. And I think having like a theme, like Lisa was saying, or doing something like that would be really helpful, or like drawing names. That would be helpful to help those who aren't as natural at giving gifts, to help them have a system to kind of help them give gifts better, just to concentrate on a theme
Well,
or
and
concentrate on one
take a little more
person.
of the burden off you because when you
Yeah.
have like when everyone's giving to everyone and you've got the 2 kids who have been thinking about it since March
Yeah.
and then the 2 kids who are like, "Wait, can I get them the smallest thing so I can get myself this?" or, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff that comes up. Then it
Yes.
becomes mom driving it. So having that system I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads me to how do you guys help your kiddos be gracious gift givers and receivers? Because there's a lot of things that kind of fly at them this season. And I feel like, kids are already like overstimulated. They're having more sugar than normal. There can be a lot of people around. How do you guys work on this? Because this is something we have had to put a lot of diligent training into.
Yes. And I think some kids need more guidance in this area than others. And I know certain ones of mine, they get to, when they're little, it's like, oh, they're just little, and everyone understands if they're like, I didn't want this, and then you're like, oh, okay, we'll talk about that later. But there's when they get older and they still have, like those thoughts. You need to navigate that beforehand. And I don't know. I always try to prep. One of my kids is more so like that, where I just have to be like, now listen, people put a lot of thought into this. And, it's hard. It's hard to navigate, but trying to prep them in advance and then, I don't know, just
We
talking.
practiced when my older kids were younger because one of
Yep.
my older kids was really direct. So we actually practiced responses.
Yeah.
And I told them it's not about how much they like the gift, it's about how much it shows them that the person who gave it to them cared about them.
Yeah.
And so, how can you say thank you for that? So, we came up and we practiced with words that sounded natural to that child. And it was like, thank you so much for thinking of me. I can tell you put a lot of thought into this. It means so much, like that kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Um, and then one year for a birthday, they were like, "Oh, I really appreciate the thought." It was like,
Oops.
They tried.
okay, so
They tried.
that's when I realized we had to practice more, you know what I mean? And we talked about it and we just said, what if we just said, thank you so much? And we just stopped, right? Like we just stopped.
And then no more words.
No more words.
And that was like it. And I was like, okay, this works. Just kind of like we teach our kids that no thank you is a complete sentence. We teach our kids that thank you is enough, you know?
Yeah.
And I think too that as we help them work hard to give thoughtful gifts, they understand the thinking that goes into it. So we can make that a part of the
Yeah.
process. Like, oh my goodness, you know, isn't it cool that you're thinking about this and this and this for your sister, or this and this and this for your brother? And look how hard you're working to do this. Whoever gives you a gift is doing the same thing right now. And so just kind of focusing on that.
Yeah.
We do the same thing. And it took me a couple of years to figure out like how much practice we needed and a
Right.
refresher beforehand. And then I have one kiddo that like the overwhelm of the situation can kind of aggravate and make it just so many people and sounds and things going on. And so we also try to do things like go take a minute in another room and just like be okay before we come in. And it's not that it's more like they're not ever trying. I hope other moms hear this too. I don't think that kids are ever trying to be hurtful or rude in these situations.
No.
They just don't have a filter and things come out.
And
Especially I
sometimes
think
they have like something build up in their head,
yes,
you know, and like they've
exactly.
got this experience and this thing built up and they've built it up so much that you can't meet that expectation.
Mhm.
You know, it's just anything that they get is not gonna, I don't know, meet
Yeah.
that level of whatever. They don't even have like maybe something specific in their mind. It's just gonna be like amazing, and then everything falls short. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
Well,
is what it
we
is.
do that too,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Like adults do that too. You build up
Sure.
expectations, you come in and we might be a little more practiced in hiding it, but kids aren't necessarily. And so we always try to do what you guys do. We practice, we talk about it ahead of time. We stay focused on or encourage them to stay focused on the love and the care that went into getting that gift and bringing it. And then also being happy for our siblings and our friends when they get something they're very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
That sulkiness can happen. So definitely lots of practice and lots of discussion ahead of time.
We have a tradition that my seventh grade Sunday school teacher started without realizing that he was going to give us a family tradition. But he never asked us what we liked that we received. He always said, oh my goodness, I can't wait to hear what is your favorite gift that you gave this year.
Mm.
But he never asked what we received. And if you started talking about it, he'd go, that's great. That's not what I asked. And he would literally redirect you. And so over the years, because I ended up being in the Sunday school class for years and years, I'd get so excited to answer that. I would think ahead of time as I was picking out gifts. Oh my goodness, this is going to be the one that I say. No, wait, maybe this one. Oh, maybe that one. Right. And I would get so excited. So with the kids, I started that from like the time they were 2 years old on. Which of these is your favorite? You know, who are you giving it to? And so that is something that I think shapes it. Like it doesn't help this year, right? But in those conversations the week after Christmas, when we have our family time, like I'll bring that up as a conversation starter one night over dinner.
Yeah.
And then
It can
I'll
help this Christmas. Let's all make this a tradition. I love it.
Yeah,
It'll be
I
the
love
first
that.
year.
Well,
and then every year we talk about like why did you think the person would like that? What did you think about them? And the person who's receiving it gets all kinds of warm fuzzies, knowing that so much thought went into it.
yeah, I love that.
Me
It's funny.
too.
One of my best gift givers, my most thoughtful gift givers, is the one who gets most disappointed. And like,
Yeah.
you know, I think I just,
That
I
makes
don't know
sense
why
to
that
me,
is.
though.
Yeah.
Because he ties it to I put this much care because I love this person. So if they feel like it hits the mark, it attaches to, in a way, their ego and their sense of self, right?
Yeah.
And connection in the relationship.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's
One thing
hard.
that we did this year that I'm really excited to see pan out is we made, I had a huge roll of paper and I cut it and had the kids design their own wrapping paper so that
We do that too.
yeah, it's in my it's in my Christmas countdown activity guide. And so my kids had so much fun designing their own wrapping paper, and as they were designing it, they were thinking about what they were going to give, like who they were going to give that paper to with the gift attached, because we do cousin names too. So I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and so the cousins all draw names, and they get to pick the gift out for that person. And so some of them were saying, "Oh, I'm going to wrap this gift in that," and that was that was something new that we did this year. And I bought the paper. You can take this idea for Christmas, but I bought it for Thanksgiving so that you can cover the table. It's like a big, huge roll of craft paper, and you can cover the table, and the kids can draw on the table, and draw and everything while they're waiting for dinner. Because at least for Thanksgiving, there's not much to do during the day, but during Christmas there is, because you have their gifts to play with. But that was why we bought the paper, and I had so much left over. I was like, hey, let's wrap gifts, or let's make wrapping paper.
We've been doing that since the kids were like toddlers, and they love it. It's so, and everybody loves it, right? Like when they get this gift and they see the art over the years. My aunt has kept like corners of it every year. It's a fun one. Yeah. Okay. I have one last question, because I know this was something I struggled with for years, and now we've got a system for. Do you guys prepare for the thing, or what do you do? Because it's a bunch of new stuff coming into your home. When you got things settled, do you guys prepare, or do you keep in mind when you're getting gifts, like where something is going to go?
I for sure do that.
That week, because that week after Christmas, when everyone's, rolling around with cheese, like that whole thing. But during that time, everything's a mess. The ornaments are still out, like all of that stuff. And then you have all this new stuff. What do you guys do about it?
Every gift that has pieces gets given in a box that it can be kept in. And I always tell the kids to every October, we clean out our bedrooms and we get rid of anything we pass stuff on. And I tell them that they're prepping for the next year of things that they can receive, because we don't want to add stress to their lives. And we understand that clutter creates mental and emotional stress. We can only give them things that there are room for. And I actually have a kid who's like, you know what? I don't want to part with anything, and I really don't want anything new because my shelves are already full. So that kid is getting something to wear and gift certificates with coupons to like do things together. Like, here's like, take 2 of your siblings to the movies with you, that kind of a thing. Nice. But he just looked at me, he's like, I don't want more stuff, and I don't want to get rid of anything I have. And yeah.
He's content.
I was like, okay,
I
cool.
love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know
what about you, Rachel?
We don't have like a hard and fast system. We don't do it like in October, but I love that idea. Remind me next October, Lisa.
I never realized how rigid I am until we start talking, and I'm like, I am so predictable.
It's October. We know what Lisa's doing. We do periodically go through things. Like for instance, we went through in November, went through our game cabinet, because that's a big thing that we do in our house is games. And so making sure we have all the pieces if we don't get rid of all of that. So periodically we're just constantly going through stuff. If I notice that something's out of control, then I'm like, well, that's what we're working on right now. Like I got to go do my daughter's room before Christmas, because that will not go well if I don't. So I don't know, just kind of on a rolling basis, like whatever is grabbing the most, like glaring need. Then we go and we do that. But I'm always mindful with the gifts, what is going, where it's going to go, where it's going to live. And then just constantly thinking about like, how is this serving us? Is this still necessary? I don't know. My husband has a hard time getting rid of the things that the kids really enjoyed when they were younger, because of this nostalgia. Like he's like, but they loved that toy. They're like, so we have a hard time, but we're working on it. We're getting there.
It's kind of adorable.
Can you have like a hope chest type box for each kid? That's like, this is the stuff that we keep.
Rachel's like, good idea.
It would be a big chest.
But that's the limit to the space.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we do something kind of like that in their rooms, but it's like when they outgrow them, then they just kind of go to this other closet and they stay there. So getting them out of the house and moving on is a
multi-step process.
It is. We're working on things.
My mom has had this where she puts a box next to my dad's desk, And then just like when his desk gets too full, she just puts it all in the box. Then she puts the lid on the box when it's full and puts another on top of it. And as
Yeah.
that one starts filling, she takes the bottom one out.
Yeah.
That's like what, 45 years of marriage or something right there.
I love that. And
Great, though.
I'm my,
So it's
just
like this
borrow that one
rolling
too.
box
I'm getting all
situation.
sorts of ideas from this episode, guys. Love it.
So one of the ways we manage this is it's really important to us to be working on servants' hearts and that kind of thing. So we go, okay, this is a time of year when people need more things. And we do this a couple of times a year with different situations. Like, okay, what is something that you like when we're looking at making space for new things? What are some things that would be a blessing to someone else? Like, how could we like, or is there anything, do you have any like good coats that don't fit anymore? Do we have any, what are some things? And so we try to go at it from that perspective. And then we go and take them to, we have a mother baby shelter. We take them different places and the kids participate in that. Not everything can go. So I always have like a second bag where it's like, not going to donate that, but we are going to let that leave.
Yeah.
So we always kind of, we take that, and we have a couple of really great picture books that we read every year that lean into this idea of serving in that way. So we always try to find time between Thanksgiving and the start of like that week when everyone's home, where we're like, hey, what could we pass on to someone that would be a blessing to them? So that's one
That's
of
a
the
great
ways
idea.
we manage it. And then yeah, I'm the same way. If it's coming in my house, that's why I like to know what other people are getting my kids. So we have kind of an unspoken, there's one auntie we never know, but the rest of them we like have conversations, and then I can just kind of mentally plan, where things will go, what's going to happen with them when they get here. You guys, I think this episode's been so full of some really practical tips during what can be such an overwhelming time. Do you have any like final takeaways, any encouragements for mamas who are like in the thick of it right now, getting all the things done, and getting all the things wrapped and all of that stuff? Anything you want to leave them with when it comes to gifting?
Be simple. Simple's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. Be simple. And it's hard
I love
because
it.
you always are trying, like last minute. I know this, that there's always that temptation at the last minute to be like, oh, their stocking isn't going to be bursting.
Cool enough. Yes.
Yeah. And so I got to go buy, and then you run out and there's this temptation just to go run and buy. And that's expensive. That gets expensive at the last minute just to make sure everything's even, or everything is, your kids aren't looking to see, is everything even? Is his stocking fuller? And that can lead to, if it is, and they notice, that can lead to some good conversations. So I would say be simple, let enough be enough, and focus on the people.
I love that. I think this gifting is like, it always makes me think of my grandma. And so the lesson that we took in going off what you just said, Rachel, we had the sea of gifts. We had the overflowing stockings. We had all of that. And when it went away, it wasn't the stuff that we missed.
Mm-hmm.
That those things leaving have been replaced with sharing stories of grandma and her poinsettia paper. She had bought this like industrial roll of poinsettia wrapping paper that she used for literally 15 years. Like we
had one like that too. It was like yellow and black. It was so
Ours was
ugly.
Black and red. It was so ugly. And the last gift that was wrapped in it was like a big ceremony. The thing is that, that sudden urge to go out and grab more and like, oh, is it enough? Are they going to be, that puts so much pressure on us, and it takes away from that joy. And when we look back on my grandma who did all of that, it wasn't actually the stuff. It was the fact that she was so excited to give and give us something to look forward to. So keep it simple so that you can really enjoy, because the more you get to enjoy this incredible gift we have in giving magical Christmases to our kids, small, big, whatever they are, the more you get to enjoy it, the more meaning and the better the entire thing is going to be. So I hope that simplicity and joy are full in your gift giving this year, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And we will see you guys very soon
In the new year.